Previously on Green Matters.
Due to the fact that we spent so much time together, I think everyone was already expecting it, right, when I introduced
Right.
to everyone. So, yeah, my family was very supportive. My dad was very supportive.
Who received Lobola? Bridal price? Where did you take out the bridal price and how was the process? Andrea, what's the most embarrassing situation that has happened to you culturally?
Oh my, I think I need time to think about the most embarrassing. There's probably too many to even mention. It's hard, there's embarrassing moments that I feel embarrassed from myself, that I've done things, especially now being married, because I don't want to reflect poorly on him.
Yes.
Where I've said things too directly, or the way I've come out sounds a certain way. You know?
Right.
For him, I think probably what he was just talking about, he's not afraid to point out things he sees are wrong.
Okay.
So he'll sometimes do that in a public setting, and I'm like, I already feel like we have attention because we're mixed, and then he's bringing more attention, so
Right.
that's happened a few times. I
Wonderful.
can't think of anything specific at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah.
Owen? I'm coming to you guys. You gotta think about it yet.
I think I can't think of, maybe if you can remind me, but I know I've had experiences where, I think right up in America, where I just kind of like felt embarrassed. I think maybe, now I think of one, right here when missionaries were having, what's this, Thanksgiving. So the first time I was invited, I had to heap my plate like with a lot of stuff. I know that even right now, I shouldn't have picked this one. Because it's embarrassing already. So I had to heap my plate. It was so high, as members say, so high that even a frog can't, jump.
Yeah.
So I failed to finish. So it was so embarrassing because you have to take enough that you can, eat and stuff. So
Wonderful. Emmy?
I have a couple. They're not hugely embarrassing, but I would say one of the biggest one is I've had a few embarrassing moments when trying to speak Bemba. Like, I won't say what I said because I might insult, but I might say bad things. But there's one I clearly remember when I was with, his sister and mother or aunt, and I was trying to say vegetables, and maybe you can kind of figure out from your mind what word I ended up saying, but I ended up saying a body part that I shouldn't have said. But anyways, they laughed at me a lot for that one, and they still talk about it to this day. And then I guess another one was, actually the very first time I went to Christian church, so I was invited to a youth event, and in the U.S. we think youth event, casual, whatever. I show up, everyone is dressed so nicely in smart clothes, and I was in like jeans and a t-shirt, and I asked the girls, can I please walk home and change? And she said, no, you're fine. So there's all these pictures taken, and I'm like, I already stick out because I'm the only white person there, and I'm just looking like, so
Actually, just a
so
little
out of the
something
place.
different. It will really be magnified because of your skin color.
Exactly, yes. So there I am in the middle of the crowd in my jeans and t-shirt, and everyone else looks so nice, like they were at a wedding or something. And so
actually, when
those
we
are the
were
first
young,
two.
going to the youth meetings, we used to wear neckties. Now,
Yes,
things have
yes.
changed.
So I wish someone had given me a little clue.
Things have changed now.
This
They
is
wear
a nice
jeans.
conference, not just a
Right.
Saturday, Sunday youth meeting or whatever. So,
Right.
but yeah, those are not huge, but.
Chris, anything you can remember?
I really can't think of anything that's really embarrassing, but I think one of the things that I felt embarrassed about, at least when we are on the US side, is ordering off of a menu. Because I basically have to be helped almost every single time, because there's 10,000 things, and we are used to Nando's where it's chicken, and you can never go wrong with chicken. Give me that, and you're done.
Definitely. We are not complicated enough.
Yeah. I remember there's a time we were in Indiana and we went to a place called Ivanhoe's, and they have is it over 1,000? 100. 100 flavors of ciders and ice cream.
And you have to choose.
And I remember standing there, walking around,
And you knew nothing.
I knew nothing.
know that.
All I know is ice cream is that
I have been
either
there, my
vanilla
brother. You're not the only one.
or chocolate. Like,
Yes.
how complicated can it be? Yeah. So I think it's really those kinds of moments where you don't really know what you're supposed to do.
No, I relate with that actually. That's one of the things I hate about traveling. I'm always embarrassed. Always. That's why I love Pastor Brian Holmes in the States. I think he understands my struggles. So whenever we go out to eat, he would tell me, okay, me, I like this. You want to try this because he knows I'm not going to choose. It's very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing. Let's talk about romance. Of course, you guys from the Western culture, you guys are very expressive. Your romance is not something that you hide. You can kiss someone in public. In this culture, they'll call 911. And so how have you guys come to work on your romance so that it doesn't die, it's appropriate, it's acceptable? Has that been a challenge?
That's a very good question. Yeah, and I think the way we worked on our romance, I'll go back to the beginning a little bit.
Right.
I think before we even started dating, we both decided we should write some of the things that we like.
Okay.
And our dislikes. And I remember, being single and being enthusiastic about being in a relationship, I thought I would be giving my wife like flowers and, I dreamt of the day I would propose. I would get down on one knee in front of a crowd. But my wife shattered those dreams because she was like, first of all, when you do think of proposing, please do not do it in a crowded place.
Okay.
Then flowers, I'm not really into.
Flower person.
Yeah, I'm not really a flower person. Yeah, but there are other things, that take the place of things that we think should be called romance. And I would say for the Zimbas, I think we've both discovered that we are homebodies. Mm-hmm. We don't really like to go out a lot. Of course,
Yes.
we've done a lot of date days and, date nights, and it's important for our relationship.
Yes.
But again, on the other side, for us, like just sitting down at home, washing dishes with each other, like sweeping, that's romantic and cooking to us.
Washing dishes. The devil is a
Yes.
liar. Yes.
It's actually my favorite chore.
Oh,
I love washing dishes. Yeah, so
that's crucifixion for me. Yes.
yeah, so it's just those kinds of things. We really don't wait for a big romantic gesture for us to feel like we are still in love, and we just take everyday things and make them romantic. Is
Wonderful.
what I would say. That's how we work on it, especially when you have a child, because
Yes.
yeah, you really can't go out whenever you want to
just
go
want
out.
to.
So you have to make the most of every moment that
Every
you
moment
have.
that you have. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
I was just gonna add. I think a lot, especially since quarantine time. Like going when we
You're
were
forced
when I
into
was
romance.
yes, when I was pregnant and when we were now that we have Judah. One of my favorite things that we do together is just go for walks. Like
Yes.
that's just like just go for a walk. Let's talk. It's different for us than most couples. We're together all day, every day, and I'm really grateful that we still enjoy each other's company. It's not like we ever get tired of each other. But so I think those walks are really just a fun time for us to just be able to. Yeah, like talk through things, ask each other random questions. Sometimes sometimes I'll go through a list and let's ask each other just like funny questions, like to just things that we would never think about or talk about. So, yeah, just doing random things. But yeah, like he said, a lot of it is just let's clean the house together. Let's do this together. And that's, building our relationship
Wonderful.
in a more practical way.
Yes.
Well, she kind of touched on it. One interesting thing is that we're not just like cross-cultural. We're also in ministry together, and we're Amy and I are missionaries. So
Yes.
the ministry can also take up a lot of, you can relate to that, I'm sure.
Yes.
A lot of time for romance, and then
I know.
and because we minister together, you can kind of forget like we're together, but not really together.
Yes.
In those moments.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I think similar to what they said, we do enjoy special outings every once in a while. We don't do them a lot, but we sometimes my husband will just say, I'm really ready to go to Ndola for a day or something like that. He loves Ndola. So we do things like
It's
that.
close to Rwansha, yes.
We also we enjoy taking walks or doing simple things like that together. You know, it doesn't always have to be a big outing or a big thing, but just something with. And also, it has to adapt, and it will continue adapting. I'm sure, you know,
Yes.
as the family grows. But now that we have a son, sometimes it's just kicking the ball out together with him. That is really enjoyable to us, to focus just family and have time together. Both like I think the Chawindas and Sinyangwes in the last episodes were talked about just finding what the other one likes, and also doing like finding out their love languages. And for us, quality time is both of some important to us. So
Great.
quality time is just any time we get to be together, you know. So.
Okay, Owen?
Yes, I would say, you know, there are a number of things that would, like crouch in your relationship, and that you don't even tend to find time for each other, you know. Ministry, and also, I mean, with what the Bible has taught, it's family first, then ministry, and then maybe other things follows. But at times you find that ministry,
Becomes
takes
first.
over and stuff
Yes.
like that. So, and it will never budge on its own.
No,
You have to
no.
purposefully, intentionally, create time. So, phones, at times will just kind of like, it's so fun at times, because, it's ministry. I mean, you have no choice because, it's ministry,
Yes.
related. So you want to send messages, call people and stuff like that. But at times, this year, I think with my wife and I, even during that time, we've been trying to find time, but we wanted to be more of, more formal, and more intentional and stuff. So we
Yes.
thought, I think this year we should do better than, last year and stuff like that. So we thought of, intention. I mean, practical at time, we should just like have time, maybe with our son, just choose down everything down and just time for our son, and also time for us together as a family, and also time just for two of us. At times, would allow other people to watch over, to watch our son and stuff, so that we can just have a date out, and so that we can spend time for ourselves. So those, I mean, that's what I would know really, I mean, core romance, you need to be intentional,
Yes,
and also
definitely.
the Zimbas I've mentioned of, in engaging, simple things, So at times, and this is also coming as an appeal to Zambia, I respect Zambia, I respect our culture, it's rich and stuff like that. But you never know whom you're going to end up marrying and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I never knew, I've ended up marrying, an American and stuff. So the way I groomed myself up, my parents groomed me, and also the community groomed me, has helped me a lot. There are certain things which the community will try to train, youngsters, but they refuse because they think, they are more of, girls. And I understand, girls are more of, kitchen, plates and stuff like that in the house. Boys are more of, outside and stuff. I understand, But we really need to really train our children so that they can, learn so many things at home, so that when they get to marry, because it's not every time your wife may be sick, and if you do not have enough money to engage a maid, or you do not have a relative staying with you, how are you going? Who's going to sweep?
Right.
So I remember when I was growing up, people would say, women would say, "Oh, this boy, your wife is going to be blessed," because I would sweep, I would shine the floor, and stuff like that. So I used to do all those things. So I'm not boasting, but I would say, if my wife is at work, I would do everything she can do.
Right.
I don't fail nothing. I'm not
Right.
trying to boast, but I can boast in the Lord. So I can do nothing. I can change diapers
Okay.
with no problem.
Right.
I can cook, and things like that.
Great.
So I think, so that, so women would love to see that, and the other thing, which is more of, just like, a typical Zambian, it's more of women, carrying, children,
Yes.
or babies on their back and stuff like that. But we do that. I've seen the Zimbas doing that. So I'm trying to appeal to Zambians to say, yes, our culture is rich, but try to I know that there are few good, I mean, not, let me not say good.
There
There
are
are few, a number of Zambians who are doing that and who are working, towards that. It's good. It's a sweet thing. It makes women feel, loved and stuff like that. You never know what, you are doing to your wife, so just do that.
That's very good. That's very good. Let me draw your attention to something, and then we come to the conclusion. Just two things left. Have you, of course, you're going to answer individually, and I'll also come to the Zimbas. Have you ever suffered what I would call probably racial abuse? Maybe from your spouse, relatives, or friends? And how have you been able to handle that?
I think even listening to the Zimbas earlier when we were talking about, how our parents accepted and things, we have been really blessed thus far, that hasn't been a major issue. But I don't think there's any cross-cultural relationship that hasn't faced resistance or, those things. Zambia in particular, I feel like has been very welcoming of me. I feel accepted by his family, by, our church, by Zambia in general, and sometimes I don't even think about the fact that we're different, because I'm used to it now.
Wow.
But for me, probably the hardest part, I did have, some resistance from my extended family. Not saying no necessarily, but like he shared, his family, someone had married cross-culturally before. Also on my mom's side, someone had married an African American, so that kind of broke the ice. Some people, I think, felt uncomfortable, and one aunt in particular thinks it's not biblical. She's not a Christian, but she believes in the Old Testament, and she thinks that the Bible says, when it says don't marry outside of the Israel tribe, that it's saying
Don't marry outside
cross-culturally.
America.
But really what it's saying, of course, is don't marry outside of the faith. So we're actually both part of we've been adopted into that tribe of Israel, So we're in the same tribe. We're not marrying out of it. We're both Christians. So that's been the hardest part, I think, for me to know that there's been a relationship that hasn't really come back together since then.
Right. Thank you. Owen?
On my part, I would say yes, I have experienced that. And not from my family, I would say, or from my relatives. But I think I've had, people, just people, would tell you to say, intercultural, marriages don't last, and things like that. It's not, it's not a nice thing to hear and stuff like that. But of course, I don't stay, and live by that, and believe, and start crying, and it's not something, that I would, really entertain or, care so much and stuff. I care less on that. But, just things like that, they would say that. Others, would say it, jokingly, but, of course, it doesn't, feel good, and stuff like that. So, so just things like that, they're kind of, really, not a good thing to hear. And, I haven't, really, heard nothing, from my relatives, I would say, if it's happening, at least, I haven't heard nothing. Yes, so, but of course, people again would just say that, why not, maybe, of course, maybe some of my relatives would say, why you not calling, you don't call and stuff like that. Have been like that. I'm a good communicator, in terms of, of calling and messages and stuff like that. But at times, again, with some other people, I don't really communicate, that often.
Yes.
So, but again, that has been deemed as though, because I've married them Mzungu, so now I can't even communicate.
I know.
And things like that. So there is that kind of pressure, but so far, I wouldn't say that, it's a pressure that is kind of really, eating us and stuff like that.
Yes.
Just things like that. But no, we've decided not to move.
No, definitely, whenever you do something different from the usual, naturally you are segregated against, and there are people who just react and they begin to judge you, even when you haven't done anything. Because of that, they take you to the level you haven't even gotten to. So those things would happen. The Zimbas, the Zimbas, please.
I would say from my family side of things, or from the U.S., I haven't experienced any negativity. I'm always kind of hyper aware of it when I go to the U.S. because I know that it is possible, and we might
Right.
get stares or negative comments from strangers. I don't think anyone from my family or friends group would ever be that way, but I'm just always aware that it is a possibility, sadly. But I can remember, and I forgot about this when we were talking about this earlier, but there was one lady, she was here in Zambia. I can't remember where she's from. She's not American, but she's not Zambian either. But when she found out I was dating Chris, she made some comment about how, Zambian men just want to marry white women just because I'm white. And so that was hard for me here because I know his heart. I know that's not his motivation at all. He doesn't even look at me as a white person. And so that can be frustrating when people just assume he's only with her because of this.
Yes.
But thankfully, the things have been very few and far between. I do know that we get lots of comments, out from random strangers and stuff, but I don't understand most of them, and my husband refuses to translate them for me. So I do know it happens, but he's probably had to bear the most of that feeling because he's hearing it and understanding it,
Right.
and most of it is negative towards him, sadly, from his other Zambian people. So I can let him talk about that.
Okay. Yes, Chris.
Yeah, it's something that is hard at times because you expect people to obviously do better, but I mean, there's been a couple of instances, and first of all, my family has been okay. Yeah, with our relationship, and it has never been a problem to anyone. Everyone is very supportive, and they're always there for us. And family gave us a lot of encouragements even before we got married. But like she said, it's the people, it's the
Yes.
passerbys
Yes.
that you really have to worry about. And people do say things, and I decide not to translate them for her because a lot of things are terrible, and and they're a bad thing. Like I remember there was this instance when we were in Lusaka visiting my aunt. We got off a bus and we were walking, and someone was like coming up into our faces trying to say something. Yeah, so we walked the other way, and I remember exactly till this day the words he said, because I thought it was one of the most shallow things you can ever say. Yeah, he said, the person whose hand you are holding is up here and you are down there, and you are never going to be like her. Yeah, and it was very hurtful and very
Oh, my
painful,
goodness.
especially coming from a Zambian.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, how do you even say,
How
something
do you
like
just
that?
come up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, so we do get a lot, and especially when we lived in Luanshya, because Luanshya is a small town.
Yes.
So everywhere, we used to walk everywhere, we didn't drive, so yeah, you would hear those comments. But positive ones as well. Like people would walk up to you and say, nice couple.
Wow.
Do you have children? Oh, we can't wait to see those colored babies. Or mixed race, politically being correct right now. Yeah, people would always,
Yeah, I was going to say that was wrong. Sorry.
yeah, so people would would say that. But for most part, like people do say things that are uplifting. And it's it encourages you and strengthens you.
Wow, wow. I like saying people don't mind their business because they have no business. So finally, I just want to bring in another aspect. You guys from the States and we guys from this side, there's a little bit of a difference when it comes to finances, the way we look at finances, the way we handle finances. And this has been because of a lot of issues that would probably affect the way we look at things. I have interacted with Americans in their homes. I have come to pick a little bit of how they are trained to look at money. One of the things that I have noticed that is almost immediately introduced to a child is the concept of saving. In our culture, it's not really something that we even think about when we are young, probably when you are going towards your retirement, that's when you know that I have to put away something. So has that issue over finances, saving, because we sometimes think when you have money, you go shopping. You don't think about tomorrow. How have you guys worked through that? How have you guys come to an agreement concerning your finances and knowing that you have to save some? I'll begin with Zimbas, then conclude with the Peris.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And what I would like to say first is when we were being mentored in marriage, that's actually one of the areas that we were taught by the pastor. He was like, if you're ever going to have problems in your marriage, these are the areas, and finances was one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were taught on how to serve and how to put money away. And of course, it's very true what you're saying, because we were really not trained.
No.
I'll personally say I was not trained to say.
No, all of us.
Yeah.
All of us. I think there are some people who were probably lucky and privileged that those things were inculcated in you when you were young, but for the majority of us, that was not there.
Yes. And that's actually something that I'm thankful for, especially with my wife, because she's a financial person.
Right.
Like, she deals the numbers, like she deals with the numbers in
Oh,
the family, and she's very good about that.
Great.
And I know in Zambian culture, it's very much, the man handles the money. The man will get paid and then bring the money and say how it's going to be used. But for the Zimbas, I think it's somewhat different, because I have to respect the gifting
Right.
that my wife has.
Exactly.
And she's very good at finances. And I have no problem, saying my wife is the one that does the budgets. She sits down, does the budgets, sees the things that we are going to need, and ways that we can help others, like just everything to do with finances. She's very good at that.
Wonderful.
And I respect that.
Great.
Yeah, so it's really been, we've worked on it. Of course, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but we've learned how to talk about our money, how to make it not an uncomfortable situation.
Yes.
It's very comfortable
Yes.
when we do talk about money, and it didn't start out that way. Yeah, which I'm thankful to. Yeah, thankful to God for.
Amen. You want to say something?
I was just going to add, I mean, you say that like it's me, but we every month, and I think that I've seen that this is not common in a lot of possibly Zambian marriages, is that there's no hidden, it's not like it's his money or my money. It's we sit down every month, we look at our budget together. Maybe I'm the one that brought it up, but we still talk about it and we say, this is how much we have for this is how much we have for this is how much we're going to save. And, again, in that submission thing, if he doesn't agree with something, or he's like, well, what if we did it this way? Then it's not something like I'm going to say, no, it has to be done this way or whatever. So it is together. It's our finances. It's our family budget. Do we both agree on it? Do we see a better way to do it? How can we handle things better in the future? So it's always been a very open thing. Let's talk about it together, and we'll deal with it that way. So, yeah.
That's very good. Andrea?
I feel like I don't have a whole lot to add, because I think it's the same. So far, there's been no financial issue, argument or anything like that. I think we talk openly, and we also, it's our money and we're open about what it is. And I think actually when we got married, he did have like an envelope system already. He put money, and he's good at budgeting also. So he actually probably had more of a saving mindset in some ways than I did, because I kind of was like, it's selfish to save. We need to. I mean, I didn't necessarily believe that, but I felt like we should be giving everything away and stuff. But now, as a family life, that's not very wise.
Very wise.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that we communicate well on that and come to agreements on how, and then when problems arise, what can we do, how much can we give, and we just have a conversation about all those things.
Okay. Owen?
Yes. So, we are serving as missionaries. So, of course, at some point, we may, God willing, we may, with the grace of God, grow old in the ministry and stuff like that, maybe retire at some point. So, but at that point of retirement, what have you saved and stuff like that. So it's very important, to think ahead. So that's one of the things, we've agreed, to like save, some towards that. But also, we do, a lot of men and women of God are helping, out a lot in the ministry because we are missionaries, we are serving. So they're helping, and we are also, trying to, we know that we've got families, especially from my side, we don't really worry about, from our side, but especially from my side, there would be needs, here and there and stuff like that. So we've sat, we've been thinking on how best, we can, like help in a way,
Has this been a situation where relatives come for help, financial help, and you say, we don't have? And of course, when you say you don't have, it doesn't mean you literally have nothing, meaning we have nothing for help at the moment. Yes, we have money for other bills and for savings and stuff like that. Have you ever experienced a situation where you've told someone, we don't have, we can't help right now, and they go upset? You've married a white woman. How can you tell me that?
What I would say is, of course, no, my families, so far would say we haven't been, we haven't experienced, like a pressure, from my families and stuff like that. The good thing is that, I've explained, myself, us, to them, our position that, we are serving in the ministry and stuff like that. And of course, we are very much willing to help and stuff. But that has also, them, knowing our position has, cushioned, the burden, the pressure of, every time, receiving, asking, people asking and stuff like that and all that. Yeah. So, but of course, once in a while, relatives, would ask, I need this, and stuff like that and all that. So, if we are in position of giving, we do that. If we are not in position of giving, we don't.
Yeah.
So that's how we've carried ourselves, and we've decided to train ourselves. If we are not in position to give, not to feel guilty.
Yes.
But just to be like,
yes.
This is it. We can't give at the moment.
Yes.
It's not easy, especially our personality. My personality also. I'm more of to be honest. I love giving, and I'm not just saying this because giving is good. If I say this, people would like to please people. I think she would agree with me. I love giving, but I've trained myself, to give appropriately and whenever I can. If I'm not in position of giving, I can't give.
That's true.
And I think that's it. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I hope all of you, our viewers, have been blessed, and we have learned quite a lot. Let me say this, that I said this at the beginning. Our world has become one. The barriers that we had in the past are no longer there. So it's okay for you to marry someone of a different race than you are. Some of the fears that we have are non-existent. And some of the problems that are there are resolvable. So you cannot just close your world and say, me, it's just this because of the fears, or let me call them unknown fears. You can live happily with someone from a different race, a different culture, because not long ago in our culture, in this country, we used to marry from the same tribe. If you are Bemba, you have to marry a Bemba. If you are a Lozi, you have to marry a Lozi. If you are a Piri or a Zimba, you have to marry from the Eastern. But now we have overcome that. And the same courage that we had to overcome tribal lines should be the same courage that we should have to overcome racial barriers. Everything is possible. And it is one God over all the nations. And the Bible says the earth is the Lord's and everything that is in there. So we have to be comfortable and don't feel bad when you have a desire to get something that is different from the rest. To go for something that is different from what everyone else is focusing on. You are blessed and you are destined for greatness. It's been Greenroom Matters with my guests, the Zimbas and the Puris. Until next time, bye-bye.